What is up, fellow nerds? Brennan Tyrell here, joined by John Ryan.
Hey, buddy.
With IGN. We are here unboxing something that we both think is super cool. It's the Dungeons & Dragons Essentials Kit. Essentially, everything you need. Hey, now, JR and I have been playing D&D together for years.
Yep.
JR, what would you say is the two biggest obstacles in getting people into Dungeons & Dragons?
I think there's twofold. One, the rules, because they can be really intimidating, and there's a lot of them. And then two is just finding people to play with.
Yes. Fortunately, unrehearsed. Fortunately, the Essentials Kit aims to address both of those issues. So let's open it up and first take a look at what's in it.
Super well.
So there you have it. There's everything that comes in the Essentials Kit. You've got a rule book, you've got an adventure, some character sheets, some handy cutout cards we'll get into in a minute, a map, and of course, some dice, and a DM screen. So the Essentials Kit really does boil Dungeons & Dragons down into the just core elements you need to play a game.
Yep.
If you've never played D&D before, you can pick up this pack. It's
I got it.
$25 at Target right now. But it becomes available everywhere that fine D&D products are sold on September 3rd. You can also order online at target.com right now if you don't live near one. But to get into it, the most important thing, I think, is the rulebook, right?
Yeah.
Learning how to play Dungeons & Dragons is arduous because this is the player's handbook. This is the book that you pick up when you want to learn how to play a character in Dungeons & Dragons. This is the revised one that comes in the Essentials Kit.
That's a pretty big difference right there.
So essentially what the rule book for the Essentials Kit does is it gives you everything you need to know how to create characters from a subset of 5 different classes.
Exactly. So the nice thing is, like, you've got a bunch of character sheets that are all blank, you know, your stats, your inventory, your description stuff. But it's only based off of sort of the core 5 classes.
Right. Fighter, wizard, cleric, rogue, and bard, because who doesn't love playing instruments and casting spells?
I mean, it's true. You can make fun of people and they physically get hurt.
Yeah, they're plucky.
Yeah.
In addition to that, any game of Dungeons & Dragons needs a DM or a dungeon master, the person that actually runs the game for the players.
Yep.
What really sets the Essentials Kit apart is a while ago, Wizards of the Coast, who makes Dungeons & Dragons, started playing with ideas and rules for sidekicks. So if you look at the very last page of the Essentials Kit rulebook, you will see a page dedicated to sidekicks. What this allows you to do, essentially, is have your DM run for one other player.
Yeah, so finding people to play D&D with, as we said, can be really difficult, especially if you want to get like the full party experience. But even if it's just you and a buddy who like want to give it a shot and you can't really rally a whole bunch of people to come to a table, like now you guys can actually play a full D&D adventure with just 2 people, one person DMing and one person playing a character, and then either the DM or the player running these extra sidekicks.
Yeah, so the DM will say, hey, if you're playing a wizard, the DM will say, hey, you found a fighter on the road and now he's your sidekick, and you can essentially level him up as well throughout your adventure, him or her.
Yeah, so this comes with the Dragon of Icespire Peak, which is cool because it's not only just like one big long adventure. So this will take players from, if you play the whole book, it'll take you from level 1 to level 6. But what's nice is while it does work as a overarching story that you can play straight through, you can also just like take bits and pieces out of it. Like there's one where you go to like a haunted lighthouse. There's one where you go and like fight a couple of things that are just trying to break into somebody's mill.
Monsters in a cave.
Exactly. Like it's a bunch of really great classic adventures that are designed to sort of introduce you to the world and the mechanics, and it's a really great balance of combat and exploration and social role playing. Really everything that you would want to kind of get used to or experience in an initial run of Dungeons & Dragons.
And what I really love about this is mechanically, I think it's one of the richest starter adventures
that's
been created. I believe Chris Perkins wrote it, who's the lead narrative designer at Wizards of the Coast. It has a roaming white dragon where you basically roll on a table and like the dragon is here now. So the adventure really can change time between play sessions. Kind of keeps it fresh in that regard. Of course, to play D&D, you need dice. You don't actually need dice. You can find digital dice rollers online, but the kit comes with a set of 11 dice.
I'm not gonna lie, I think this is my favorite starter set dice set that I've seen.
Yeah.
Because it like most of them just come with 6 dice, a D20, a D12, a D10, a D8, a D6, and a D4. But this, it is, but this is a lot more dice.
Yes.
This actually gives you 2 D20s, which you can share between 2 people, or you can use to roll for advantage, or disadvantage, which is when you do something extra good or extra bad.
4 D6s for character creation. percentile dice, 2d10s of course, and then you've got your 12, your 8, and your 4-sided dice. Everything you need to play, and of course you can share these between the DM or the players as needed. In addition to that, what's really, really cool is it also comes with these handy dandy cutout cards.
Which are super handy. So these are just initiative trackers, so your character rolls for initiative next to another one.
Yeah.
And then you can just hand these out to people who are going to go in a certain order. But the ones that I really like.
Yeah, you want to do those?
No, I like them all, but no, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things to remember with Dungeons & Dragons. One of them being conditions. If you're blinded, you're poisoned, you're stunned, you're grappled, what does that do? Handy cards for that sort of share the information, and you know exactly. If you get blinded during the adventure, the DM hands you the blinded card, and now you know what happens.
Right, so the person DMing, like assuming they're sort of new to it too, like they don't have to keep track of all those rules when you have it in front of you.
Exactly. Of course,
Super handy.
there are magic items. We haven't cut these out, but all of these are perforated. You can pop them out.
They go in this super cool empty cardboard box that also comes with the set. Perhaps the fanciest thing in the item.
Yeah, so of course there are the magic items. All those magic items are in the adventure of Icespire Peak, so you're already set and ready to go. You have NPCs from the adventure as well, so if you want, if players say, hey, what was that person's name again? What were they all about? You can share that information as well.
It's a visual representation of them too, which is nice.
Yes, you can actually see what they look like. And then, of course, quests. And these are all applicable to the Icespire Peak adventure as well. And what I really do love about this adventure is it's written within the context of the box.
Yeah.
So when they talk about classes, they're not going to reference the additional classes. They're not going to talk about the Warlock or the Paladin or the Druid, other classes that you find in the actual rule set.
Exactly.
They just reference what comes in the Essentials kit, and they talk about the cards, and they talk about the map that you get in the Essentials kit.
Yeah, so like if you haven't run a D&D game before, or if you're really nervous about the idea of doing it, like they literally say like, okay, cool, hey, hand this card to this player who does this. And it's just a really great way to kind of package everything together, especially with the magic items. And like even if you are an experienced person who runs, like D and I,
D.
Yeah, D. You're D now.
Yeah.
BT and I both run games for folks, both out of and inside the office, and like those magic item cards are really handy.
Yeah, they really are.
So like even if you have some new people that you might want to be running for, and you're kind of an experienced DM, like consider picking the box up because there is stuff that you will find useful in it.
And going back to that map that I talked about, the Essentials kit also comes with a map. This is one side is the map of the Sword Coast, sort of the western coast of the area that this adventure takes place in, Dragon of Icespire Peak. It centers on the town of Phandalin, and then when you flip it over, you get the full map of Phandalin, which is super handy when your players ask, hey, can we go to a location? You're like, oh yeah, it's
right. So you don't have to necessarily explain for the millionth time, like, no, there's this shop, there's this building, there's this person's house. Like,
and it's a good like visual. Like so much of Dungeons and Dragons is imagination. It's nice to have visual tools as well. And speaking of visual tools, the kit also comes with a staple for DMs everywhere, the DM screen. This is so you can secretly murder your players without them seeing it. It's got all the information a dungeon master needs to run, and sort of a quick reference guide. And actually on the front, it's got some of my favorite art that I've seen so far.
It's real good. Now, the way that they blend it all together is really cool too.
Yeah.
I will say there are better official Dungeon Master screens out there, I think. This one is very thin cardboard.
My one critique of the Essentials kit is this DM screen is really flimsy. Having said that, you can buy sort of the standard hard cardboard DM screen. There's actually a ton of different versions of them now, and they're really, really cheap online. So this is a good starting point, and that's really what this kit is about, is getting your feet wet and getting new players into the game, and then you can sort of build on your. I mean, you and I have both.
You can slowly build
entirely too much money on D&D.
A massive collection that wastes almost all of your disposable income.
D&D is a hobby that you can never own everything for. So,
but that's the thing that I love about it. It's a hobby that either you can invest every second of your waking hours into if you so choose, or
we do,
which we do. Yes, I wasn't going to tell them that, but we do. Or you can be a normal human being and just be like, yeah, I play it like once every couple of weeks and I don't really spend a whole lot of money on it.
Yeah, and that's fine. There's no wrong way to play Dungeons & Dragons.
Which is the best thing about it.
Seriously. And the final thing that comes in the Essentials kit is a sort of, little segue into D&D Beyond, which is the digital sort of counterpart to Dungeons & Dragons.
Yep.
It's a suite that has everything that you could ever need to play the game, just
Yep.
about. You can create your characters. It's a really awesome product, especially if you don't want to do the pen and paper and have to worry about, bringing
Yeah,
your
because like, I mean, don't get
characters.
me wrong. Like, I love the feel of a nice character sheet.
Yeah.
But like after a while, this just looks like a mess because you
And-
just keep erasing over it. It gets torn. It gets
And
ripped.
after a while, your
It's a lot.
collection
They're
of Dungeons &
real
Dragons
heavy.
really kind of builds.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, like, it's great if you're into lifting, but like
It's true. Lifting books.
for nerd stuff.
Nope. Anyway, there is, I'm not going to show you the coupon codes on the back, but you can unlock the Dragon of Icespire Peak Adventure, and then you can also get a discount on some of the other books, especially the Player's Handbook. So
Yeah, which is if you jump into this and you think it's something you might want to keep at, like I really cannot recommend enough. Like, get at least a copy of the Player's Handbook for
Yeah.
yourselves because like it is everything that you need to like continue running the game. But then it's also just a bunch of other great shit too.
And that's the great thing is like the Essentials Kit is $25, and if you buy it and you play once with your friends and you all decide you're hooked, you can spend $50 on the Player's Handbook.
Yeah.
You can start to invest in this hobby.
The other thing too is like it's $25 and like even just this one adventure, Dragon of Icespire Peak, like each having played a couple of these scenarios, like
Yeah.
each one is at least one, maybe even two sessions.
Yeah.
So like that's several weeks worth if you play once a week worth of content for you.
Oh yeah,
guys.
you will always get your money's worth with Dungeons & Dragons as long as you continue to play. Anyway, so that's our look at the Essentials Kit. It's really got everything you need, and I can't recommend just how awesome this hobby is. If you're at all interested, just check it out.
Yeah, super worth your time. I promise.
You and I have both onboarded a ton of people
Yep.
into Dungeons & Dragons, and it's always a 3 to 4 hour sit
Yeah.
down, explain the rules, explain what
Yeah.
everything does.
And this is a really great way to you can never really circumvent that.
No.
But like this is a really nice way to sort of make it a lot more digestible to you and your players.
Or buy it for somebody who's interested.
Exactly.
Anyway, this is the easiest way to get into Dungeons & Dragons right now. That's the Essentials Kit. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're curious, check out some of our other D&D content on IGN.com. And for everything else, you're already in the right place, right here at IGN.